If you didn't watch the last raised garden bed tour, might not have seen the Blue Lake stringless pole beans that were starting to get dry. And look now, there's one that's still green, but look at all these that are turning brown, ready to collect for seed. These are so ready. Tons and tons of them. That will be coming up real soon, collecting seed for next year. These were really good beans. But that's not going to be the goal of this. This is going to be the goal of this video. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. It's a very beautiful morning. Low to mid 60s today. Sun is shining. It's nice out here. We're in Destin, Florida. Zone 8B, I believe, officially. However, 9A is about a county that way, so we're pretty close to 9A. It's gonna be cold coming out here soon, but today we're going to focus on something new. Planting out. You know what this is? It is garlic. So we're going to be getting some ground ready to plant out some garlic. I got some more in here. And if we don't get this planted soon, we may not have garlic next year. So it's supposed to get cold tonight. Right now at 62. I think last night we got down to 45. I realize it's Florida, so cold tonight means 40 degrees. Tomorrow night's 38 degrees or something like that. Now this box of garlic has been in the refrigerator for about 6 or 7 weeks, depending on, there's actually there's 3 orders of garlic in here. But the way this garlic works, and the way most garlic works, as far as I know, is that they have to go through a cold period, get vernalized. That actually sets off the timer in them to start sprouting. Now they'll start sprouting before cold sets in, but the recommendation is to plant the garlic around a month before the first frost. Now obviously, we can't predict the first frost that accurately, so we kind of look at the average first frost date and plant a month before that. Now our average first frost date is supposed to be the middle of November for our zone. Problem is, we hadn't had a frost in almost a year and 3/4, so we didn't get any frost last year at all. I don't know how they figured that into their averages. We will probably be getting a frost here in the next 2 weeks, so it'll be kind of perfect to plant these garlic now for us. It's going to be a little bit nice these next couple of days, the beginning of it being in the ground, and then after that we will be looking at cold weather for a little while. Coming into the end of December, we're dead center of December right now. Christmas is a week from tomorrow, but typically February is very cold around here. Gets down to the 30s very regularly. We typically have frost in there. Not sure what's going to happen this year. Now, if you watched the last video, you saw me close up the low tunnel back here where my peppers are, and looking forward to being able to open that up in a few weeks. After this next couple of colds. Actually, I take that back. I'm opening it up next week briefly, but nothing's going to be ripe yet. It'll be a few weeks before the last stuff gets ripe. I'm pretty much going to leave that tunnel closed most of the next few weeks because I want it to build up a reserve of heat in the soil and in the air inside there. It won't hold heat overnight. It should help the peppers survive though. Now there are other peppers out on the property that I will be bringing inside the Florida room, which is behind the camera right now, and those will probably spend a few weeks inside the warmer Florida room so that they will survive the winter. Some of them have produced. In fact, I've harvested 1.5 pounds of jalapenos just this is Saturday, Thursday, so 2 days ago I harvested 1.5 pounds, and that wasn't all the jalapenos that were out there. That was all the ones that were big enough. There's a number of them out there that are still small that we'll be leaving there until they're ready to harvest. So I wanted to take you through what I'm doing here for the garlic. Now there are a few different kinds of garlic here. We have this Chesnok Red hardneck garlic. Now, if you follow Hollis and Nancy's homestead, they actually planted some of this a little bit further south than we are. They had really good success with them, and it is a hardneck, which is not normal for Florida. I really want to try a hardneck because I want to try scapes, and scapes is the hard top, the flowering tip you cut off before it starts flowering. They're supposed to be really good. You fry them up, you do stuff with them, so that's kind of what we're looking to do. We also have Inchilium Red, which are not red, but these are a soft neck, and that means the neck on them is soft. They don't have that hard neck. One of the advantages of a soft neck garlic over hard neck is the soft neck will store longer. So whatever we do, those hard necks are going to be consumed first after we harvest them. And then of course we have, I think this is another bag of Inchilium Red that I got from, oh sorry, I was looking for some more. I forgot about the music, and this is a hard neck also. Now this comes from San Diego Seed Company, which I've always wanted to have a reason to buy something from them, and I finally did. I was looking around for just a little more garlic, and I found this music hardneck garlic. And San Diego Seed Company is really an incredible company. They do some amazing organic stuff. They're USDA certified organic. They have a channel on YouTube. Looks like a really great outfit. I've heard such great things from other people about it. So be sure and check them out if you haven't and you're interested in organic. The interesting thing that I'm finding interesting is that they specialize in crops for those warmer climates, which San Diego, it's a little bit warmer than we are, so they should be able to grow something that I can do. And then the last thing that we have here, these enormous size, are elephant garlic. Now, remember we live between like 2 airports, a heliport, and 4 air bases, so we've got a lot of air traffic out here. But the elephant garlic, it is actually not a garlic. It's massive, but it is maybe related to a leek, I think it is, but it has the flavor of a garlic. So we're going to try these this year. It is, I believe they said it comes up as a hard neck. I can't remember, but they're massive. And so the plan is we're going to actually, this bed over here beyond the beans, we're going to prepare this. We're going to put some real soil in it, which hopefully Gardener Scott will be happy to hear. I'm finally going away from solid compost, but we're going to put real soil in there, and we'll talk a few minutes why. And then what we don't plant over in that bed right there, we are going to plant in grow bags. Now I do want to get all these elephant garlic because they're big. I want to get those in the ground in the raised bed, but I have a lot of grow bags that have not been used, brand spanking new ones. I think I've used all the old ones. I don't think I have any empty ones sitting around that I've used before, so we're going to fill some more grow bags and find places around to put them. Now, I'm a little bit discouraged about not having the bed ready that I wanted to put them in. There's the 5-tier beds I'm planning to put out front, and that didn't get done. I'm gonna give myself a little grace. I've been very busy, I've been running. I'm a handyman and I've had some big projects that I got done, and so it just didn't happen, and I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. But I do still have plans for putting in those 5-tiered beds down front between the front pollinator bed and the asparagus bed over there in front of the Pindo palm and the bean arbor. If you've watched some of the garden tours, I'll be sure to put a link to that in the description, maybe in a card up here on the top of the video. But anyway, so that's the plan for today, and we'll see what we can get done. Maybe Mrs. Bowtie will come out and help if she's actually working too, so I don't know if she'll have time to help. But getting excited, getting garlic in. Yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. So first things first is getting the garlic ready. And I'm gonna pull out the music first. Now this is again from San Diego Seed Company. We're gonna put them on a little plate over here. And basically what we're doing is we're trying to keep as much paper intact as possible here. And like that one was already loose. A couple of these are already loose. I did order these late in the season, so I'm not so surprised that they may not be the absolute prettiest, because I'm sure the prettiest stuff went out first. And looking at these, they look really good. They have some nice color to them, I guess. I've never grown these, so I really don't know. Now look at that one. Man, that is just a beautiful head of garlic. You don't want to damage the garlic themselves. And you'll notice, see this bottom here? This bottom is where the roots were. And you plant them in the same way they grew. So they're gonna be planted in like that, each clove. Now if you plant them as a cluster like that, you're gonna get a bunch of tiny little heads of garlic. And we don't want that. We want as big a head of garlic as possible. So we wanna be sure and give them some space to grow and stretch out. So I'm trying to save as much. Now some of this paper is gonna come off, obviously. That hardneck is really hard. It's a stick, practically. So, but you can see I'm trying to work it apart, and finally one of them gave. And see, there's a little bit of the root area that was left there. And I'm leaving these pretty much as intact as possible. This is interesting. Is this a little hard base here at the bottom of the stem, but that kind of just breaks off from it. That is going to hopefully encourage some root growth. Those actually feel really good. So there is our San Diego seed. Now notice some of these are bigger than others. Like take these two. This one's nowhere near as big as that one. There's a nice big one. They say that the bigger the clove of garlic, the bigger the head will be. So when we plant these, we're going to plant some of the big ones in one bag and then the smaller ones in another bag. And I want to actually be specific on which I put where, because I am curious how much difference there's going to be. That's interesting how that grew zigzag. The paper goes back and forth in there. That's weird. Anyway, so that's going to be the music garlic, hardneck. These were the plates I had the okra seeds on, which I have since preserved. Oh, great. Oh, there we go. This is the elephant garlic. I'm a little excited about this stuff. I hear so many homesteaders. Look how massive that clove is. Oh my goodness. There's only a few cloves on each one of these. Now, oh, this is interesting. Oh, that came out with a bare side. I'm not sure that is going to make it. That feels like raw clove to me. I'm being careful again to not pull off as to pull off as little as possible. These are, look how massive that clove is. It's starting to split a little bit. I hope that's okay. These came from Haas Tools. It was actually the first set of garlic that I got. Haas Tools does a lot of great supplies for farms and homesteaders and gardeners of all kinds. Looky there, that's a hardneck. So these are the old stems. We're not going to have any use for these. No flavor. Okay. Actually, it does have a little flavor. I'm going to take this one in. We're going to taste this one. See what it tastes like. I'm not sure it's going to go, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them. That sounds like a good crop for elephant garlic. I'm going to leave one of these blue ones in here. I think there was a label that I don't know where it went. So, all right, so we have our music, we have our hardneck. I only brought out 5 plates. Yes, that's exactly what I need. Okay. I'm gonna use it. Set that aside. All right, so the next one is the Chesnok Red, which is a hardneck. This one came from Keen Garlic. This is the company that sent garlic to Hollis and Nancy's homestead. We got a nice bag of 5 cloves, which is very exciting. Means we got plenty. All right, now these are a hardneck again. Do not store as long as soft neck, is from what I understand. But we're basically working our way around here trying to find a loose enough one to pop, there we go, to pop out. You don't want to damage them. But looky there. So there's 3 cloves. Now there's another thing you'll notice, the first 2, there were not many cloves typically in these hardnecks. There's not nearly as many, obviously, in the elephant garlic. This is a really small clove of garlic. I'm going to set that one aside. This one here, it feels like that the paper came off of there completely, but I'm going to let it go. Just got to be careful with these not to damage them. And finding that first loose one, oh, there we go, is kind of the challenge. There we go. Now that's a really small clove. There are some small cloves on this head. Here's a couple of big ones. Well, one big one. It's not real big. This whole head, though, is pretty big. I thought it would have some bigger cloves, so maybe it is good. Once you get the stem off, you can come around the bottom here. That's a lot of garlic. That excites me. Last year's harvest, well, not last year's, this year's harvest. I planted last year. That's interesting. Whew. This year's harvest was dismal. We got barely any. We've been saving it for important times. But we are anxious to have more garlic next. Oh, doggone it, I pulled some paper off. All right, I'm gonna let him go. Oop, there's a piece in there. Some of these cloves are not very big. Like, look at that one. Tiny, tiny. That hard neck is really interesting, I think. So, I'm not doing very good preserving the paper coating on some of these. That paper coating helps prevent rotting and other things once they're planted. Can't tell if that's 1 or 2. I think it's 1. That's a pretty big one. I'm going to call it 1. Oh, I felt this one come loose right here somewhere. Nope. That outer paper can come off fine. You just want to preserve as much of the paper as possible. Something here is trying to come off. There it goes. All right. So there we go. I guess with this excess paper out of here. Whoop. Keep throwing out cloves of garlic, don't I? So this will be my 3rd time planting garlic. Hopefully we can have some good success this year. I've only had success 2 of the 3 years. We're going to be doing a couple of different ways. We're going to plant in ground, and we're going to plant in grow bags. The first 2 years I planted in grow bags because I was planting from the apartment. So we didn't have the gardens at that point. And 1, 2, 3, what am I missing? 1, 2, oh, okay. Losing count here. For a second there, I thought maybe I had 5 different kinds. I only have 4 different kinds. Anyway, I will break these Inchilium Reds up. Now, the Inchilium Red is actually the type we grew the first year. And last year we tried to grow a couple of different kinds. It didn't work very well. We had a recall on our seed garlic, and I planted it anyway, but it was pretty much a failure. And of course, by then, it's too late to order seed garlic. Now, what I should have done, and I thought about this, what I should have done is just gone down to the store and gotten whatever I could to grow. Ooh, see how that head right there, I just broke off the whole root node at the bottom, so it is not going to be any good. Got to be careful. Now this is a soft neck. It doesn't have that hard neck like these chicken bone looking things in the middle. I thought it would be best to do this out here because of all the paper that goes everywhere. Now, these layers, every layer to the outside of this is an extra leaf that grew. Those long skinny leaves that grow, that's another leaf that grew. So the more leaves that grow, the thicker the paper covering. The thicker the paper covering, the better the preservation of the head of garlic. Wow, these are really in here good. So yeah, every one of these layers that I'm peeling back was another leaf on this plant when it grew. There we go. And just the layers of this is really interesting. They may not have a hard neck, but they do have a hard base down there. See, there's a leaf that grew all the way around it, and another leaf. 2 more leaves there. Anyway. So, I'm Bowtie Dave. This channel is mostly about gardening. Please subscribe if you have not already. Welcome if you're just finding us. If you've seen us already and come back, we appreciate you subscribing and appreciate you watching. If you've learned anything on this video, please, please, please hit the thumbs up. Feel free to have a laugh, because I am a new gardener. This is only my 3rd year gardening successfully, though I have tried in the past. That's a little tiny clove there. I'm a little too stingy though. I like to plant everything just in the hopes that it comes up. And almost everything does come up, it just makes a smaller clove. This stuff, it does want to grow. It wants to grow, people. You just have to give it the opportunity. I forgot who it is. Maybe it was Jess Sowards again. She, I mentioned her in another video recently. She's the one that says, turn your waiting room into a classroom. But one of her regrets was years ago, she had a packet of seeds that she threw away the next year because it had an expiration date. And she thought, well, it's past the expiration date, throw it away. And she says, you know, the only seeds that will not grow are the ones that are not planted. Seeds last a long time. Garlic lasts a while. It does have a life, but you know, if you don't plant it this year and you find some laying around, you can always try planting it. That's why last year I was regretting I didn't just go to the store and get something from the store just to see if I could plant something. But I didn't know how the crop was going to go. I was being hopeful, optimistic that we would get a crop last year that never happened, never came to fruition. So this will be the last head of garlic. Oops, there's a clove right there, don't let that go. Making a mess in here. This is why I didn't do it inside, because there's a ton of stuff here. A little bit breezy today. Kind of relying on the breeze to help keep the paper pushed that way. The wind is coming from that direction. Oh my goodness, these things are really tight. Now these soft neck garlic will preserve longer, is what they say. What we do is we braid the stems, and when we harvest, I will show that process if we get any. The hard neck can't be braided, it's too hard. But the soft neck will braid, and we will hang them in our pantry, and they will stay there until we are ready to use them. Oh, clove down, garlic down. So there we go. Let me go make some labels to go in these. And I am just going to let that paper fly willy-nilly, because it's natural. I like having natural stuff floating around our garden and settling and feeding what we have growing out here. Oh, I did it again. All right. Let me go make some labels up. So I've got a bunch of labels done already. You can see here's a bunch of Inchilium Red labels. Working on the last one. I got a few of the music under there. When I make my labels, I like to get as much info, important info, as I can on there. Definitely the name, Chesnok Red. I like to put where I got it from, whether I got it from Keen Organic, or sometimes I'll actually, if I've harvested, I'll put harvest there, stuff I harvested from my own garden. Harvesting your own seed is always best if you can, because the seed from the stuff you grew will be more accustomed to your environment than seed you buy from across the country somewhere. And so always find ways to save seed. You save money as well. This represents quite a bit of money of garlic for me. Hard for me to talk and write at the same time here. I did kind of, there's somewhere around 75 cloves of Inchilium Red, which just excites me to no end, because this is the one we know does very well here. Very excited. Typically, the hardnecks do not grow well in warmer climates. So I'm kind of taking a little bit of an experiment, growing 3 types of hardneck garlic here in the panhandle of Florida. Now the marker that I am using here, I have been playing with different types of markers, trying to figure out what works best. This is the Sharpie Extreme fade resistant. Most assuredly, it is not fade resistant. It does fade. It doesn't fade quite as fast as the regular Sharpies do. Not quite, but it does fade. You probably noticed the peculiar shape of the tags I'm writing on. These are actually cut up almond milk jugs. I get almond milk with my cereal at lunch, and I cut the jugs up for tags. And you notice they have a curve in them. Oops, 16, 22. They have a curve in them. And so what I do is I face this way to the south where the sun shines, and I stick them in so that this is actually hidden from the sun, and it actually tends to last about twice as long that way. This is after years of experimenting with tags and stuff. There's all kinds of tags out there that you can buy. If you watch much of my stuff, you know that I am a cheapskate, and I'm not going to throw away something that will work perfectly good as a plant tag and buy something that's just a replacement for what I threw away. I just don't feel comfortable with that. So now these do last in the sun very well. I'm not sure what kind of plastic they are, but they do work very well. So there's the Chesnok Red, and underneath there is the music. There weren't very many cloves of music garlic, but we got somewhere around 75 Inchilium, probably about 60 Chesnok, 8, 9 elephant, and looks like a baker's dozen of music in there. So we're going to plant these in a couple of different ways. We're going to plant some in the ground. We're going to plant all the elephant garlic in the ground. Probably most of the music, if not all of the music, in the ground. And then we'll split these Chesnok Red and Inchilium Red between bags and in the ground. I might do 1 row of each in the ground in our bed over here. Problem is with putting them in the ground is I'm taking up tomato plant space. Guess that's just how it's going to have to be. Should have gotten off my tail end and made some beds, huh? All right, let's get some of these planted. In case you missed it, I put in 2 bags of that soil, and based on the height of it, I went ahead and put in a wheelbarrow of this compost. This is not great compost. For those of you who didn't see where I discussed it, it was not as processed as I would hope, as it has been in the past. We get our compost for free from the local equestrian center, and we get what we get, but it's free. So I don't complain. I am going, if you might have seen in the fast video, I did pull the irrigation lines. There are 3 irrigation lines that go this way, a big one in the middle that feeds the low tunnel, and then 2 smaller ones that are just there mainly to feed this bed with water. In fact, it should be just right, yeah, there it is. It's just barely under the mulch. But that does pretty good on keeping this soil healthy. So what I'm planning to do now, the sun goes across this way up here. This is south that way, north this way. And so when the sun comes up, it goes around that way. This tree that's giving us shade right now is coming down in a little over 2 weeks. This is Saturday. Wow, 2 weeks from Monday and Tuesday. That tree is coming down. I can't believe it. But so anyway, I've got about, I don't know, 2-3 inches of this compost here as mulch, and I'm going to plant these elephant garlic first on the far end here. And the reason is, as the sun comes in, the elephant garlic might block the sun of the things beyond it. I'm not too worried about the peppers because the peppers are tall enough. Now, interestingly enough, the sun here in Florida is pretty high. So this thing is going to get full sun, or almost full sun, when it's supposed to be bulbing up and needs its most amount of strength. So and this bed should be really good. Now what I'm doing here is I'm arranging these in largest to smallest. And remember, if you've seen my videos, you'll know that these videos are really my own personal log of what I'm doing. So I remember, because my brain doesn't remember. I'm ADHD and I have a very difficult time remembering. But I'm arranging these from largest to smallest. And I'm going to plant them in this bed, the largest ones here closest to me on the west end of the bed, and I'm going to plant them in 2 rows here. So there's 4 and 5. So we're going to have 4 in one row and 5 in the other row. Now when I plant these, I have my hori here, and it has a scale, has a ruler on it. That's 6 inches. I'm going to plant these every bit of 6 inches down into the soil, because that's what these big old honkin' elephant garlic need. They are definitely going into the soil, and I'm planting them with the pointy end up and the root base down. Remember we looked earlier when I was pulling these apart, that part where the roots come from, that's the roots, and those need to be facing down. Now it doesn't matter if you plant them sideways or upside down, they'll eventually grow, but they have the best effort to grow if they're planted upright. And so we want to make sure that they get that best effort. And I'm double checking my last one. As I was talking, got a little concerned, but it's good. So I'm planting the base of these at 6 inches down. And I'll admit I'm being a little more sure that it's sitting the right way than I normally would, because these are a new crop for me. All right. Found some good grass that I want. I'm gonna go plant this somewhere important. So there's 2 rows of elephant garlic. Elephant garlic is in. I'm not going to do any of these yet. That's the Inchilium Red, the Chesnok Red. I'm going to do 2 rows of the music, I think. And I'm going to do the same thing. And you'll notice if you look in the description, there is a complete index of everything in this video. And the reason I do that, again, is this is my personal record of what I'm doing. So I actually can go back and look and see what I did and where I put things, and I regularly do. I regularly go back and look at these to see my notes, because my brain, my ADD brain, I can make a video, but I am not good about writing in a booklet, in a log of some kind. I am not good at all. It's just not how my brain does it. And I can hang on to a log. I don't lose it, amazingly enough. But this video, hopefully will still be on Google as long as they're around, and hopefully they're around as long as I need it. So what I'm doing here is I'm arranging these cloves from smallest to largest, and I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. We have 2 rows of elephant garlic. I'm going to start on this next brick here, and I'm going to start with 2 rows of the music garlic from San Diego Seed Company. Music hardneck garlic. There we go. Got it all in. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to plant 7 in each row. 6, 7. There we go. This will be my first row, and I'm doing the largest ones at this end, working my way down, all the way down. So putting them about 8-10 inches apart. Now these are smaller. I don't plant them quite the same. They're going to probably end up going about 4 or 5 inches deep. Went too deep with that one. This soil is very soft. I have to be careful about pushing down too hard. In fact, this soil is so soft it won't even hold the hole. So I don't know how perfect my placement is across here. Oop, I started at the wrong place. There we go. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in there. I've got a lot of, well, remember there's corn stalks under there. There's aloe stalks in there. There's cuttings from the magnolia tree in there. So I'm feeling around with my fingers to make sure that clove of garlic has enough room to grow now. Side note for myself, this first one right here, there was a little more debris around it. Felt like a corn stalk near it. I don't think I placed it so close that it'll hurt the development of the head of garlic, but this is the one that I'm most concerned about. This very first of the music hardneck garlic. I may come back in here and do two more rows, one row of the Inchilium and one row of the Chesnok, but I want to get some bags planted first. Let's go mix some soil. So I've alluded before to this method of mixing up soil, doing it on a tarp. This is actually the last of the compost I got from the Equestrian Center, and I have a little more than I thought I had, but we'll have to see what we can do. I do have 3 more bags of that Sta-Green yellow garden soil. I'm going to be using that in grow bags. Now this, I did a little inventory. This is a 25-gallon grow bag. And I have 19 of these 10-gallon grow bags left. And this is actually what I grew the garlic in the last 2 years. See, it's significantly smaller, but I don't know that I have enough soil to fill that many bags. We're gonna just have to see how many bags I can fill and go from there. These things are supposed to be planted about, I think it was 4 to 6 inches apart. If I don't have enough space, we may have to tighten them up, I'm not sure. But I'm gonna go through here and see if we can get these things all mixed up. That's what I would get for waiting to the last minute, right?
Okay, so we got 17, count them, 17 10-gallon grow bags. Now, a few things about these grow bags. First off, I get these Gardzen grow bags from Amazon. I'll put a link down in the description in the index like I normally do. They cost me $40 for a bundle of 20 of them, which means they're $2 a piece. So that's pretty cheap. I love these grow bags, and I like to support the podcasters and vloggers and stuff that have their own grow bags, and one day I hope to support them, though I support them in other ways, but right now I don't have a lot of money to put into this, and this is what I got. So turning my waiting room into a classroom. A couple of things about what I put in. First off, you notice it was a little less of that soil, that flower and veggie garden soil, than there was of the compost, which means it has a lot of organic material. So it's gonna hold a lot of moisture, which is not that great for garlic growing. So I put in a whole bunch of perlite. Now the perlite, which you can get at big box stores or you can order online, the perlite will help the drainage of the grow bags. The soil that I added in, actually I think it may have a tiny bit of perlite in it, but nowhere near enough. So I added plenty more perlite to make sure that they have good drainage. So they're going to hold moisture, they're going to have good drainage. They're in grow bags, half soil, half compost. So at least there's some soil structure in there. It's not great. You watch our video tours over the next 6 months. You're going to see the soil in these go down and get smaller and smaller till it's about half. Now because of that, I will be growing the garlic a little bit deeper, probably an inch deeper or at least on the deep end of the range of acceptable growing depths, because that soil is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner, and so I would have to come back and put more soil on top, and I don't want to do that too much because it costs. So now I might actually mulch with some sand. I did that in another project and it was really interesting, it had some interesting results, but I might mulch with some of our really good draining sand across the top to help keep insect pressure out when it starts coming around to spring. So now you notice they're a little over half full right now. Number one, it's gonna sink down. Number two, the roots on garlic is not very deep. They don't have deep roots. So they don't need a ton of soil. It's not like some things that we grow around here that need, that are gonna have roots that go way down. They just need a little bit of soil. They don't need a lot. I did feed them some bone meal, and if you look back on the unboxing of this garlic, I also fed them the powder that came with it. Now that's, it was just a little bit of that, and I will probably end up doing a little more as I water come spring. But it's just a little bit of extra feed. I just put a minimal amount in because I believe that's going to be more for the bulb development later. I have to do a little more research. I did not use it properly because I forgot about it until, well, it was too late. One of the big things though, you finally got to see me mix a lot of soil using that tarp, going back and forth. And some people will use a cement mixer, and I think that is a great idea. I don't have a cement mixer, and I'm not gonna go rent one, and I'm certainly not gonna buy one. As a handyman, if I have one day, I might use it. But you saw how much soil I mixed, probably 8 bags worth of soil. 8 of those 50-pound bags worth of soil got mixed all together at once, along with perlite, bone meal, a little extra feed, and so forth. But now the bone meal, I didn't mention the bone meal. The bone meal, remember NPK, that's the 3 numbers on the fertilizer bags, N, nitrogen, phosphate, potassium. So nitrate, the first number, deals with shoots, okay? The green stuff. Second number, okay, now this is kind of a rule of thumb, but it's a broken thumb, so take it, don't fuss at me for not getting it exactly right. But the second one, the P, phosphate, is for root development. And bone meal is all root development. The third one, potassium, is for fruit development, like the fruit, the actual fruit, which also includes flowers. So NPK, shoots, roots, and fruits. And I say that a lot, I know, but it's really, oh my goodness, it's really helped me once I got that straight. Now, fruit development is actually the last two numbers combined, but more the last number, so that's part of the broken thumb. There's other stuff, there's other nutrients in there that are important, and we can't discount any of that. But as a general rule of thumb, as I'm looking at my garden, I will decide what I need to do based on that 3 number a lot of times. There's a few other things that we'll talk about in the spring, but I don't want to throw too much out there. NPK, shoots, roots, fruits. There you go. So that bone meal is going to work on roots. And what I want this garlic to do first, the first thing is it needs roots. It needs to shoot out and start getting some root development. And so that's what I'm doing, getting it pumped for roots. And so for roots, I got to make sure that's clear. Pumped for roots. And so these things are ready. I'm going to start placing them in there to see what my spacing is going to be. I have a feeling we're going to end up with 2 rows of each out in that bed we started at the beginning of this video. So I'm running out of room. I'm really wishing I had these beds out here done. We're out here right behind the bean trellis right here, which is where the tiered beds were going to go. This might have filled more than 2 beds, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna have to figure out, we're still in our first year here of growing. So, and I really want to get the tiered beds up and running here soon. I really was hoping to have them done by now. Change of plans may include maybe the top 2 getting done this winter and adding them as I can get soil and compost and other stuff that I need to do that. So anyway, here we go, 17 bags. I'm gonna start placing them in there, and then I'm gonna show you what kind of spacing I found. The first 2 types, I just stuck them in the ground. Well, this time it's a little more careful. I wanna get the spacing right. The spacing needs to be good. And so these are my important ones, the ones I planted out there. The elephant garlic has plenty of room. I'm not worried about those at all. This stuff here, this is the brunt of our crop for next year's cooking. So yeah, this is gonna be the important spacing. And so let me get some of these spaced out, and then I'll turn on the video and we'll talk about what I'm doing. Okay, so here you can see the spacing. I started off putting 5 in each bag and did a little math in my head and decided to go ahead and put 6. This should be wide enough of a stance for them to develop nicely. You'll notice they're kind of deep down in the bag. So what's going to happen here is I will be mulching some of these leaves around here, and I'm going to be filling this bag. All of them, and covering the bed up back in the back that you saw me planting. But I'm going to go ahead and fill these bags. Now those leaves are going to start settling down over the winter, but they're going to help maintain some of the moisture, enough moisture, in fact just perfect moisture inside each bag, but they'll also, if they decide to shoot a green up, they'll also allow the green to get shot up through the leaves. However, those leaves are going to break down pretty fast, probably in about 2 months. I say break down, they're going to get settle down to where they're going to end up being maybe an inch on top of this soil. And as that happens, here's the cool thing about these grow bags. As that happens, you just fold the side of the grow bag down so that those plants can grow full size and spread out and get all the sun they need and everything else. So you'll see that, and we'll talk about this in the garden tours as we go through. Come probably March or so, you'll start seeing me start folding down some of these bags so that the greens that will already be coming up by then will start to be able to spread out. So we have 17 bags here. We've used up all of the last of our compost and soil, which is just wonderful to me. And I've planted another 3 rows, 10 each, 10 garlic each row back here in bed number 3, next to the low tunnel of the peppers. Also put in little tags over there so we'll remember what they are. And now I have to just push them in. All of these are just going to get pushed into the soil now, get pushed into about 3 or 4 inches. And I really think if I have enough leaves, which trust me, I have enough leaves, I'll probably end up covering this bed real good as well so that it gets a nice leaf coverage. That's what I do with all my beds, is get that nice leaf coverage. It helps suppress extra weeds. You do have to keep the weeds out because garlic is one of those things that don't like things touching them. No touchy, like other plants. And so you can see, like right here, there's a 1/4 inch tubing for irrigation that goes off every other day. It does have decent drainage in here. So yeah, next I start the work of pushing everything in and getting it ready. And so, with this last garlic, the garlic is planted. Oh, that feels so good. And what I've been doing here, I figured I'd show you on this last one. I kind of hold it with my finger in front of the garlic so I don't damage it. You can see like that right there. And I use my fingers to dig down the hole. And I end up putting the base, this is the base of the garlic. This is the pointy top here. This is the end with the roots is right here. And so I use my fingers because I don't want to damage the garlic bulb itself. I want to be sure that it's good and secure. And all I've been doing is just taking my fingers like that, digging down a little bit, and sticking it down the bottom of that hole. I've been putting the base about 3 or 4 inches down. It has varied a little bit, but it won't matter. So I am very excited. In fact, I wanted to actually get an official count of everything. And so let me pull up my calculator and figure out what we got now. So we got 9 heads of elephant garlic. Was it 9 or 11? 5? Yeah, 9 heads of elephant garlic, I believe. Memory Plus. I got a Memory Plus on here somewhere, don't I? I don't see it. Okay, I do not. So 9 heads of elephant garlic. And then we did the music hardneck, and 7 and 6. I think we had 13 of those. So that's 13. Plus we had 9 bags, 6 each, of the Inchilium Red here, so that's 54. Plus another 20 out in the bed. 20. So that's 74 of those. Plus we have 8 bags with 6 in it each of the Chesnok Red. Chesnok? I'm just gonna call it Chesnok Red. So 8 times 6 is 48, plus another 10 out there. So total of 154 cloves of garlic gone in the ground. Wow, I'm so excited. We're gonna have garlic this year. Oh, that's gonna be so wonderful. No recalls yet, so I think we're gonna do good. But yeah, now all I have left to do is I'm gonna spread these bags around the various places in the yard. I have a few ideas on good growing places. So I'm gonna spread these out and kind of give them each a different chance to grow. So that's a lot of garlic. Oh, I'm so excited. I am just beyond thrilled. Thank you for following along with me today. I appreciate it. If you're still watching, remember this really is my personal journal and I'm happy to share. I'm learning things. If you learned something through this video, please click the thumbs up and share with your friends on social media. That helps to grow the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Don't miss anything coming up because we're going to be following the growth of these garlic in the garden tours. So every month I try to do a 3-part video tour. I know a couple of months I didn't do 3 parts and they ended up too long. So we're going to fix that and never do that again. But we'll see these things grow. You're going to see next time you see them, they should all be full of leaves. Our leaves are disappearing, I'm noticing, but I am going to find some leaves. I know I've got a lot along that fence row over there. They're around. So I'll find leaves and fill all these bags and hopefully get a layer on top of the bed back there that we made as well. So yeah, and keep an eye on the video tours because they're going to be spread around everywhere. Probably a bunch here in the front and side beds. I might put a few in the outer beds in the back. I don't know that I'll have any in the raised beds because watering may be a challenge to get water to them. So I may not have any in the raised beds, but yeah, here we go. We're gonna grow these garlic this year. I think I typically harvest them in June or July, and that will be, what's that? That's like 6 months away, 5 or 6 months away. And these things will grow. They're gonna start shooting up a little green. Actually, they're gonna start with putting out some roots that you won't see. And then they'll start putting up little green shoots somewhere in there. They might put up some green roots this month, green shoots this month. They might not. It doesn't matter. They do their thing. They know what they're doing. We don't have to teach them how to grow. These things, God put inside their DNA exactly how to grow. So they got it down. They're going to take care of it. And so, yeah, it's exciting to have a new crop in the ground. That always gets me pumped. I see some serrano peppers need to get harvested over there. But we're going to be facing some cold weather here for the next few weeks, maybe a month. We're not really sure, but it's tomorrow is a week from Christmas. We have 8 sleeps till Christmas. So garlic, done. Thumbs up. If you are still watching and you just found us, please subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and it helps you not to miss any of the progress on these garlic as they grow. Yes, garlic as they grow. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing, and appreciate you watching along, appreciate you coming back, and appreciate all the thumbs up because that does help grow the channel. And I've said that twice already. I know I'm repeating myself. I'm tired. My ADD brain is just not really functioning right now. So I guess that really means I just need to say those magic words that I always end with. So everybody, have a Merry Christmas and have a blessed day.